How you watch a movie says everything about you. I know this sounds a bit weird at first, but watching a movie isn't just watching a movie. Have you ever noticed that two people can watch the same movie and have a completely different experience? That's because there are different groups of how people tend to watch a movie. I recently witnessed this in action when I watched Inception with a group of friends. Although I watched Inception before, I was super focused and tried to analyze every detail because especially with a movie like Inception, there's usually always something that I missed the last time I watched it. One of my friends, however, was constantly checking his phone, while another one almost started crying in the final scenes of the movie. Our experiences were so different that I just had to explore this further. So that's how I ended up making this video. I want to take some time to explore what different types of movie watchers there are, how this influences our enjoyment of certain movies, using Inception as an example, and what those types maybe say about our personality in different areas of our life using a psychological model. And let me tell you, for me, my viewing habits and general personality matched perfectly.
How do I know you can deliver?
You don't, but I can.
But let's first look at the different types of movie watchers. After doing some digging, I ended up with 4 types of people. The analytical watcher, who pays attention to details, plot intricacies, and character developments. The emotional watcher, who gets deeply immersed in the emotions of the story and the characters. The distracted watcher, who frequently checks his phone or multitasks while watching. And last but not least, the casual watcher, who watches a movie for pure entertainment without any deep analysis. Where do you think you would fit in this system? Of course, in reality, this is more of a spectrum with loose borders. I, for example, would fall somewhere in this area. I definitely love analyzing movies, hence this channel, but I also like to get emotionally involved. Iron Man's funeral scene, for example. Man, that one just always gets me.
Then again, that's the hero gig. Part of the journey is the end.
There is also another group of people that we all know, but it wasn't quite worth giving them a separate category, and that's the sleeper. He falls somewhere in the range of casual viewer with a tendency to get distracted. But besides the sleeper type, imagine a group of people with one of each type are watching a movie like Inception. Their experiences will be extremely different. The analytical watcher will probably have wet dreams afterwards because this is the perfect movie for people like us. The emotional watcher may still enjoy this movie due to its satisfying and dramatic story, but the mumbo-jumbo of who's planting what idea and whose dream may be a bit too technical.
Whose subconscious are we going into exactly?
Going into Fisher's.
The casual watcher is definitely not going to understand all the intricacies behind the concept of Inception. For some, this may lead to a less enjoyable experience. For others, understanding the basic idea and fun dream sequences may be enough to having a good time. The distracted watcher is really the one that worries me, because this is where the viewing experience really starts to suffer. I personally love when movies like Inception really take their time to build some rules for whatever is possible in that movie and then actually stays true to those rules. The explanation behind the whole concept of Inception, the mechanics of how you fall asleep, how you can wake up, how you need an architect, a host, and so on. For me, that's all pure gold. Other great examples for this are movies like Avatar, The Matrix, or Interstellar. What pains me is that distracted viewers and maybe some casual viewers will never be able to really appreciate movies like this. Just please don't be a distracted viewer. Put your phone away for 2 hours and give yourself a chance to actually get immersed in a movie. I think you'll be surprised how enjoyable some movies can be.
Something, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I hope you now have a sense of what watching style describes you best. Now let's get into what your watching style tells us about your character type using the color model developed by the psychologist Carl Jung. Maybe some of you have heard of this model. It divides character types in 4 main color groups by evaluating how introverted or extroverted somebody is on one axis and by differentiating between thinking or feeling character types. I once did this personality test with a psychologist, and remember what I told you where I placed my viewing habits? That's also exactly what my test result was. Since I used the same colors in my illustration, you can probably already see where I'm going with this. The introverted thinker is the blue character type, and I would argue that the people who are an analytical watcher tend to be the blue color type in this model. We're not just analytical when it comes to movies, we're also analytical in life. In case you're interested, you can pause the video here and read it in detail, but the main points that describe the blue type are that he's task-oriented, very detail-oriented, analytical, precise, and formal. However, they struggle with overthinking things, taking risks, and being spontaneous. The emotional watcher is the green type in this model. They also tend to be more introverted like the blue type, but are less logical and instead more feeling. They value high quality relationships, are very supportive, and just generally tend to be very friendly towards others. But they struggle with change and like to avoid conflicts. The distracted watcher is the red type. This one isn't as obvious as the other two, so let me explain why. If you tend to be a distracted watcher, I think it's maybe because a movie isn't fast-paced enough for you, you're bored because you're not taking any action but just watching a story, and maybe you struggle with the patience to focus on slower parts of the movie, like in Inception where they set up all the rules about dreaming, but all these rules are important to know to really get immersed in the rest of the movie. These characteristics fit perfectly to the red type, because these people typically have great willpower and a competitive nature. They enjoy making decisions, are very direct, and move at a fast pace. However, they struggle with the patience to listen to something for an extended period. The casual watcher is the yellow character type. They enjoy watching movies in a casual setting, mostly with other people, and like to have a chat while watching. That's because these types of people are usually extroverted, but just as emotional as the green type. That makes them very communicative and confident. They don't mind big crowds and love meeting new people. However, just like their movie watching experience, they tend to be more superficial and are also often over-reliant on other people. Now I do want to add that none of these character types is inferior to the other one, and no person is made up of exclusively one color, but one color is usually dominant. So let me know how you watch movies and if your movie watching style does apply to other areas in your life. This video was a bit different than my usual videos and definitely something new for me. So please let me know if you like this psychological exploration, and I'll see you in the next one.